Welcome to another episode of Fabulous Lenormand Beyond the Surface. Yeah, this is my, I don't know which attempt this is to make this video, to film this video, because I was very, occupied by a lot of new packages that came in. I got my Mary L today, which was totally surprising. It was, of course, also totally early because not before the next week I should have become it. But yeah, and then I got a gorgeous package from Kelly from The Truth and the Story, and I still wait for a parcel to arrive, which is not for me, unfortunately. It's for a friend, a birthday gift. I will gift her the Shadowscapes, but just a little side note beyond beyond Lenormand. I also purchased it on Wordery. There was a quite good deal, and I thought, okay, now or never. So, give in to my deck addiction. Now back to Lenormand. This episode is about the first two cards of the Lenormand. It will be about the Rider, as you can see here, and of course about the Clover. And I also will delve into to the book that I showed you, that this series is based upon. The book by Kathleen Bergman. And as you can see here, the gorgeous painting of, it's by Franz Marc. It's his Blue Horse. And I really love the vibrant colors of it. Yeah. Kathleen Bergman has a really interesting approach in this chapter in terms of approaching the first card or approaching Lenormand cards in general. It's very unique, at least in terms of Lenormand. A lot of you might know this from tarot cards. A lot of you might know this from approaching also oracle cards, but not Lenormand cards. We all know when it comes to Lenormand, this is one of the first lessons we Lenormand noobs all have to learn, that the rider is the rider is the rider. Or the message is the message is the message. Yeah, but still the reason why I bought the, and if you hear something here, some loud noise, I guess it's my neighbor with her smoothie maker. This sounds always like a drilling machine. I can't help it. So sorry for all this disturbance, but I have to film it now or never. Yeah, when it comes to the rider, of course, in Lenormand you don't delve into what you see in the picture, what you feel like. You can also approach it more oracally. This is something you see, you also saw within Kelly's Lenormand videos. And after all, why not? If it works, it works. I don't know where I heard it. I guess it was in terms of alternative healing, when a doctor said the one that heals is the right one, or has the right on his side, or however. And in terms of dealing with Lenormand cards, Kathleen Bergman approaches them similar to tarot or oracle cards. She suggests path working with the cards. She doesn't talk about this term of path working in this chapter, but after you see what she, or what after I read what she suggests, I thought, okay, this sounds familiar, quite familiar to me. This sounds like pathworking to me. She really tries to get you into some kind of visualization. She tries to envision yourself choosing a horse. You pick the horse that you want, that you dream of, and then go off. Go off into the blue and ride on. And she tries to... she still sticks to the meaning of the card, but still tries to get a more fresh perspective on it. And maybe I guess you get a fresher perspective on it, especially when you see what the rider means, that the rider means movement, that the rider means also a message which leads to movement, that it's initiative, that it's action, energy, it's forward directed. So this is something which you can approach, still approach also in a visualization within a Lenormand card. This one, especially the speed, the speed in this one. So I quite like that approach. And she has a little motto for the rider, which she calls "Only the movement of the mind brings improvement in life," which is quite gorgeous. So in those pages, she's going into the kind of the visualization and so on and so forth. And this is, like I said, it's a new approach, it's a different approach, but of course she's not the only one who approached it a bit more from a fresh perspective. Of course, also Chloe McCracken in her Celtic Lenormand also approaches Lenormand from a fresher perspective, in this case from a pagan perspective, and also from a kind of intuitive perspective. Sorry. There is a wonderful video where she's telling about using your intuition within Lenormand, where she explains her method, and I will link it in the description box below. It's quite a useful method. And she also talks about that that in Lenormand you don't use your intuition for the cards, but for the meaning, for the words, for the sentence that you're forming, that you can find your own twist to it. So this is also quite interesting. And I like that she's also involving messages, in terms of messages, that she has also the spiritual approach in this deck. That you can also incorporate as a message signs which you're witnessing in nature, and look at all the elements and beings around you. And that is something you can also incorporate within the Lenormand, because you also look to the surrounding cards in a Lenormand deck to see what the exact message is that she wants that the rider wants to bring across. Because, okay, you know, the rider has a message, but which message does the rider have? So therefore you need additional cards. But still, you can feel in this path working with the card, you can feel this kind of energy that this card has, this forward active movement energy that this card is radiating, this kind of swiftness that you have to bring forth. So this is quite an interesting perspective. And as I told you, she also delves into tarot, or tries to relate tarot to Lenormand. And she does this quite beautifully. Like I told you, sometimes you find for one card, several cards in the in a tarot deck that which have certain touching points of a Lenormand card. Sometimes it's the other way around, and I really like that, how some kind of different little twists, not twists, sometimes little details you find within each of the systems. And it's, I guess, also useful also to improve your tarot, and also improve when you are working in conjunction with Lenormand, tarot and Lenormand. So this is something I really, really find totally fascinating. If you hear some kind of paper sound here, don't you wonder, because I had to write something down because this book is so meaty. So let's see what she brings up for the tarot cards. If you hear this this loud sound here beyond my feet, and if you wonder what this is my dog. So you have a snoring dog which is sleeping under this table. So this will accompany your video. I'm so used to it that I really overheard it. But now when I stopped the video to lay out the cards, I thought, oh my gosh, that must be sounding so loud. So a little bit of entertainment here, but I don't want to wake her up. So in terms of tarot cards, of course, she's relating, because we have the rider, she's relating them to the riders in the tarot, the knights. Yeah, and I quite like that she also made clear that there are opposing forces within the within an average tarot deck, and you can really gorgeously see it here in the Universal Smith-Waite deck, where you have these kind of opposing forces and with totally different approaches. So the movement, the action, the riskiness, and so on, this is here within the swords and the wands, and you find the more reflectful, maybe also stagnant thing here within the cups and the pentacles. This is something which I really like, because to some degree you see this visually also within the Celtic Lenormand. But of course, this thing here, which you find here within the cards, is not easily to be found within one card only, one Lenormand card only. These opposing forces can also show up in relation to the rider in Lenormand reading, but this strongly depends on what card is coming in the way of the rider. So is it maybe eventually too risky, the path that he is taking on, the message that he wants to deliver, the thing that he wants to bring across, the movement, the next step that he wants to make, or that he has to make or wants to make. Maybe the snake is in its way. And maybe it's risky, and the scythe is in its way. So you have a bit like this kind of fiery and airy thing here going on. Those who want to take risks, but you also can have really things in your way that will just stop you from the movement. Of course, the other things can also stop you from the movement, but these are things like the mountain you can surround, you can manage, still be stagnant, but you can also deal with things like the tower, which is also an obstacle in your way. And this is quite a gorgeous thing to discover. Of course, not you can just also have luck and have this dark coming your way to aid you, or everything is perfect and you have a vision, everything is clear, and you go for the stars. So this is only my beginner's perspective, with a little bit of influence, of course, the knowledge of the books that I've read so far. So from the German book and Chloe McCracken's guidebook for the Celtic Lenormand. This is just my beginner's perspective. So yeah, bear with me. But the thing is that, of course, in this book is also about mythology, and Kathleen Bergman is going here following the steps of Parsifal, who's part of the Arthurian legend. And Parsifal is a bit like the fool in tarot also. She relates it, of course, also to the rider, because of the obstacles that can come in your way, the obstacles that can come in his way, and that came in the story of Parsifal, in Parsifal's way. So he had to overcome a lot of obstacles. to his way to self-discovery and his way to awakening. And this is something, when you read this and you read about the meanings for the rider, you read about that and think, okay, awakening, message, wake-up call. So wake-up call is also a message. So this is plays into the spiritual realm also, so, or the psychological realm also. So this is quite fascinating to read. And the rider can also ignite a process of transformation. So at the moment I don't quite get the card. I don't know if it was the stork or so. There's also a bit of fire within that, and so this also relates to a bit, also because it's the card with the number 1, to the magician. This kind of determined way. Of course, everything that you can find within the magician, you have to find within Lenormand, not just only with this card, but with all the descriptive cards that come after the rider, or are surrounding the rider in a bigger spread. So this is this kind of way. And she also relates the numbers to each other, which we will come later when we come to numerology. So this is quite an interesting thing. So basically also what the story of Parzival is saying is it takes one move after the other. And you have your downfalls and you have your successes, and everything until everything unfolds, until you maybe will have the big picture. The big picture in this case would be a grand tableau or a bigger spread, at least more than just 2 cards. So this plays nicely into that. What she's also diving into is in terms of the horse. She brings up a bit of shamanism, just a tiny bit. Where she's talking about that the horse in shamanism is a parable for the human soul. So the horse is basically carrying the human soul, which is also quite lovely in case of the horse is carrying a human in the physical world. And the rider in this case is also a symbol of getting in communication with the world and all its living beings. So a good, interesting and juicy thing that is going on in this book. So I really love this approach. Of course, we also come into numerology, like I told you, and it's about the number 1. And in numerology, this is the source of creation. This is the source where creation and procreation is happening. So this is something that you might, think this is familiar to you when you're studying tarot, because numerology normally also plays into that in a lot of books. So this is something quite interesting. And here it says also it's the possibility of new growth. Sorry about this. It's the possibility of new growth. It's a new beginning of energies. But these energies, or those energies, must learn to evolve in a sensible and focused way. Otherwise, the consequences can be what did I have here? Can be not so nice, like this guy. So, and what's also, like I told you, it's also what you find here also about the element of fire, I will. And this is also the starting point, the movement, the forward movement point within the rider. This is a kind of, he gives you a direction to move forward. And this is something I also learned within my elemental balancing studies, that this element of fire is sometimes the very first spark. It's like these kind of flashes from your nerve system that set you in motion without even thinking further. And this is something which also plays heavily into the rider. So this is gorgeous. I will share with you, of course, also the informations about astrology. So she's delving not really deep into astrology in a more kind of formulated way or so. She just gives you the planets and so I will read them to you. I know nothing about astrology, so I can only repeat what she's telling here. So she's telling that the planets, for the rider, that the planets are in Aries, Gemini, Leo, and Sagittarius, and they are in the first, the third, and the fifth house. And the constellation, they have the constellation of Sun Mercury, Sun Mars, Sun Jupiter, Sun Uranus, Sun Mercury Mars, and Mars Jupiter, and Mars Uranus. So this is all I can give you for that, because I know nothing. Although I just got a book from our local library, which maybe some of you might know, but not everyone, but the series, you know, Astrology for Dummies. So I thought, okay, maybe I want to take a little sneak peek into this topic further. So we have the rider. And this rider, like I told you, one card in the Lenormand means nothing. So we put a second card to it. So this looks very nice. So this rider has some empowerment behind him, or her in this case, which I really like, that there's a woman, eine Reiterin. So this will follow next. So let's move on to the clover. And let me just begin by, just telling you something, or asking you something. Did you know that there is an exercise which strengthens your immune system within just 20 seconds, that reduces stress, that guards against depression and cancer, and is also a sportive activity at the same time. And the funny thing is, you don't have to leave your couch for doing that. Would you consider doing that? Fine. Then when you want to join me in that, then just start a simply hearty good laugh. So this is a really gorgeous. This was a really gorgeous intro from the book, and I really loved that. And I heard about that a lot. And this is something which also works when you don't feel like laughing after all, because the funny thing is that the brain doesn't make a difference between a real and a fake laughter. The kind of the amounts of happiness hormones that are released are the same. So maybe that's the reason why some kind of laughing yoga classes are so popular, or some kind of meetings where people start to laugh in kind of a faking way, which mostly leads to real laughter, because sometimes this sounds far too funny to be serious. But I really like that. And it's also gorgeous because there's also a quote by the Dalai Lama, which plays into this kind of laughing topic. When people are laughing, they are capable of thinking, and this is something wonderful. I have to put that in my bullet journal as a quote. What does this have to do with the clover, you might guess? After all, the clover is about, of course, about happiness, about a moment of luck, about small luck, about hope. It is also part of a bigger picture, so we have to look at the other surrounding cards in a spread. But after all, it is about happiness. And it is about the small happiness, like I told you. And this small happiness is sometimes overlooked in our society. But this is something which we are mostly able to find, this small happiness, when we are not feeling well. Then even small things can bring us joy. Some random things on the wayside, a flower, or you can witness a couple of days ago I witnessed a green woodpecker here on our meadow here in front of my balcony, and this was total bliss for me, because we have woodpeckers, normal woodpeckers here also, but not a green one, and he was so luscious green, and I thought, oh, what a lucky me. This was such a clover moment for me. So and this is something which also Kathleen Bergman brings up in her book. She's telling about the value of the small things in life. That should be the small things in life that makes us happy. Not should be, but she's telling about small things that make you happy, especially when times are darker. So in terms of when times are darker, I found out, okay, I play a bit with the cards. So when you have luck, basically small luck, but this means nothing, it's just a word. So when times are darker could mean for me this one. So kind of this luck is hidden in a kind of way. These clouds are, no, I guess I have to, I guess I mixed it up. So in this kind of way. So you have the clouds, the clover and the clouds. I mixed it up a bit because both begins with a C. So we have the clover and the clouds. And in this case, it means hidden luck. So you don't see it, there is nothing, maybe it's there, but you can't grasp it because of the fogginess of the clouds. But the other way around, there is some kind of these difficulties that are embodied by the clouds are chased away by the bit of luck. That there is something, a small thing by the wayside that makes you happy and chase away, and the clouds are vanishing for a moment. You can see the blue sky, and this is kind of a way I try to make sense to this kind of moment. So even if I messed it up a bit, but thing that I also try to make sense to in terms of that is Kathleen Bergman talks in her book about that maybe this value of small things in life, that this that brings us happiness, that this might be the most important key to happiness at all. So she's also talking about the normal daily chases we have in our lives, where we search for the big things. And so I try to make some sense to it with Lenormand cards. So, for instance, work. We have, this is one of the main issues that people also have. Of course, love and health and relationships and so on and so forth. But I choose work and all the things that are coming or stemming from that. So we have work and money in this case. So you could think that this is prosperous work that you have here. This prosperous work could be the key to happiness. These are one of the things that some people quite often think, and sometimes it's right. Sometimes there's more to life than those things, and sometimes we can totally miss something like this on the wayside. So this is my way to try to make sense to it, and at the same time learn some kind of the Lenormand phraseology, yeah, in a playful way, and work with this, work with the cards in conjunction with the books, which I didn't thought that it was possible because it's more like an historian book. Not so much. I know Kelly did a shout out of this video series here, and I was quite happy about that, and yeah, it was very nice. But this is not so much, as you might guess now, that is not so much about the history of Lenormand itself. This is something I touched on in the introduction video. So from which system Lenormand was evolving from, and so on and so forth. And the first system, there's not so much that you can draw from that further. There's not so much background at the moment. Without further and of course far more deeper investigations or research. So this goes into the history of symbols itself, the symbols that are also used in the Lenormand or in a Lenormand deck. So it also talks about, of course, talks about the clover. Yeah, the clover. Why is it with the clover? So you might guess, no? So this is something she's also touching on within mythology, of course. But to come back to value small things, she has a very nice and funny analogy here in this book, which I want to call the cake analogy. So basically it says, small piece of cake, delicious, yeah, thumbs up. The whole cake, yeah, you get thick and a bad tummy, so not so good. And she also talks about that scarcity causes enjoyment, or that small things, that small enjoyable things at the wayside can cause a lot deeper feeling of happiness when you're in a darker moment, so, or when you're when you're living in darker times. This is interesting, and she also tries to bring up the thing that what happens what happens when the that even now I try to get it. It's not so easy sometimes to get it from German into English. She tries to bring up this cake analogy also the other way around. So in terms of bad things, bad luck that happened to you. So you might guess, okay, you have the cake, and then, oh my gosh, half of the cake fell off the table. But at least you have one half of the cake left. But if the complete cake fell off the table, you're mourning about that you never had the taste of at least one piece. So she tries to bring across this kind of that small doses of as well happiness and as well also bad luck are easier to take in and easier to digest for the human soul or for the human itself. And this is something it's quite interesting, and which I quite love and can quite resonate with, because of course we also want to have eternal luck, but when we delve for another one and another one and another one, you have always try to get it bigger, and you never stop, you never be at peace with the kind of luck that you already have, or the kind of happiness that you already have. This is kind of like when you're eating the whole of the cake, that you're feeling after a while there was too much of everything. So this is something I really like in this book. Of course, she, like I told you, she's delving into the mythology. She's telling a bit about the Celts that saw the clover as the embodiment of the whole of creation. So basically, they saw them as the four elements. The four-leaved clover were a representation of the four elements, which is also interesting. So this is also, it's part of a bigger picture, which you also can see when you see this card in a big spread, because it is part. Lenormand is always part of a bigger picture, or a Lenormand card is always part of a bigger picture. So in terms of myth, the clover was also known for, or it was said about that it has magical powers, of course, because it's not such a common thing to find a four-leaved clover. So this is quite this is something I really adore, especially when it comes to the genetic point of view. This is something I never knew before, that that there is no four-leaved clover envisaged within the genetic, construction. But sometimes, nature allows itself some extras, or herself some extras, so we can enjoy a four-leaf clover on the wayside when we are lucky. And it's also said that in Christianity, in the Bible, in the that when Adam and Eve had to leave the paradise, that it was said that Eve took away a four-leaved clover as a reminder of the magnificence of the recreation of the world. So this is also so simple, but it can embodies everything. And which is also delving into that, this kind of small is beautiful, that the clover is seen here also as a symbol of a kind of holistic life concept. So this kind of back to the root thing that is going on all over the world. This little bit of Greenpeace, she's calling that here in the book. This is something I really liked. And as a reminder that that everything, the good and the bad, once came from and both came from a tiny seed. So I know that there are people, when it comes to when we delve into kind of environmentalism, that most people say, oh, I can't do something. What can one person probably achieve? Yeah, but sometimes there is one person, and then there is another person. It's like that the ocean is made of millions of water drops, so it can make a difference. And I guess it's about being mindful, and it also is about not being hasty, and it's about some kind of an organic growth. This is a term that we have, as I told you, I'm working for the transition town movement here in our city, and we have a project which is called Egon's Villa, and this is some kind of neighborhood community project where we will meet twice a month to have some community cooking, and we build up a kind of an alternative library. We want to make workshops and so on and so forth. And within this group I'm in for, I guess now, over 2 years now, we always have the discussion of should we grow further? It's so slow. We should be more proactive and go forward and make more and more and more. But then at the same time, other voices are saying, yeah, that's exactly that thing that we want to leave behind, that we want to make a difference, that we want to give an example of a more simpler, maybe smaller life, more maybe minimalistic life. So this is also playing into that, this kind of minimalism, which you also find, this kind of minimalism also around the world. I'm quite a fan of the tiny house movement that is a part in the US, and where also people leave a lot of things, a lot of baggage behind them, and try to to find a more simpler and yet more fulfilling life. And this is also playing a part in this book in terms of a fairy tale. Maybe you know this from the Brothers Grimm, Hans in Luck. So if you remember, Hans in Luck, Hans got a piece of lump from his master after he finished his apprenticeship. So yeah, and then he started, okay, what should I do? And he started, okay, I buy a horse, and he started to reduce more and more and more until there was no burden for him left, and he was, you can see, a happy guy, or here, even happier. So this can sometimes bring you more happiness. And I guess it's also the reason why these kind of decluttering books, like the one by, how it's called, Magic Cleaning by Marie Kondo, are so popular at the moment. Because we are a generation that is hoarding stuff, and let's be honest, we as tarot deck collectors, but sometimes, we can also fall into that category. So this is quite a funny aspect of that, also quite ironic. So basically, that's what it's in here. But so let's see what we have. Heads that we have here. We have, of course, the number. We'll come to the number, and this number, the number 2, is of course about duality. It's about the yin and yang, the black and white, the good and evil. But it's also at the same time telling here that the clover here, at least the author Kathleen Bergman is telling that the clover is a bit, the 2 in the clover is a bit irresolute. So this 2 doesn't take a clear stand. But it's unburdened, and it's lighthearted. So this is something I like. And of course, she's also playing a bit with tarot cards in this case, but only in this little section here, where she is relating the clover with the Empress for this kind of abundance, also for being mindful, with the Eight of Rods in this case, or the Eight of Wands, for, let the things come your way. This kind of yin and yang, the 2 aspect, of course. And this kind of happiness and contentment and so on. Yeah, and the last one, of course, before I will finish this episode, is, of course, the kind of astrology aspect here. And we have here in the astrology aspect, we have the planets in Taurus, in Cancer, and in Virgo. And they're also in the 5th and the 6th house. And we have the constellation of Sun Moon, Sun Venus, Sun Saturn, Moon Mercury, Moon Venus, and Venus Saturn. So a bit about that. So, I know nothing about about it, but before I will close this off, I want to give you a little quote that I found within this book, and which is from a fellow man who grow up, or who was born near my town, near my city, which is Wilhelm Busch, that maybe you know from the Max and Moritz cartoons, you can say that, cartoons, because he was a poet, he was an illustrator, he was a cartoonist, and he was a humorist also. And he had a very nice quote, and he said, happiness is resulting from being aware of the small things. Bad luck from neglecting them. So I hope you value the small things on your wayside. Sometimes there are treasures to be found. We will see us soon in the next video. And I wish you a fine day or a fine night. Bye!